In a quiet Ocala, Florida neighborhood, what seemed like a simple dispute between neighbors built up for years before exploding into tragedy. A woman named Susan Lorincz, aged 58 at the time, lived in an apartment complex in Ocala, Florida, where her relationship with her neighbor A.J. Owens and Owens's children had been increasingly tense for more than 2 years. Around her home was a grassy field where Owens's 4 children played. Lorincz believed the area was interfering with her property and repeatedly called law enforcement. Between January 2021 and June 2023, deputies responded to multiple calls at Lorincz's address involving the children, complaints of trespassing, and alleged harassment. On the evening of June 2, 2023, an incident ignited the dispute into tragedy. Owens's 10-year-old son told his mother that Lorincz had allegedly thrown roller skates and confiscated his iPad after playing near the field. Owens, a 35-year-old single mother of 4, walked to Lorincz's apartment to confront the situation and demand her child's belongings. At about 9 p.m., according to reports, the confrontation escalated as Owens knocked on the front door of Lorincz's locked residence. 2911 calls become pivotal evidence. At 8:54 p.m., Lorincz called and reported the children were trespassing and the situation escalated. She was told deputies were en route. Just minutes later, she called again and said she had shot someone through the door. Witnesses heard knocking, yelling, what they described as the door frame shaking, and a loud pop. Neighbors estimated the wall between apartments vibrated. Owens was struck by a single bullet from a .380 caliber handgun fired through the locked, deadbolted door and collapsed on the grass next to the field. She was transported to hospital where she died. In her recorded interview with detectives, Lorincz stated she panicked and believed Owens was going to kill her. She said she did not remember raising the gun. She recalled the fear and then the gun discharge. However, ballistics experts testified that the bullet casing matched Lorincz's Remington handgun and that the trajectory indicated she was standing near the kitchen table, some 12 to 15 feet from the door. Prosecutors emphasized that the door was locked. Owens made no effort to break in, and there was no evidence she posed an imminent threat. The defense argued Lorincz had neck surgery, knee issues, and felt physically vulnerable. They urged the jury to imagine herself in Lorincz's position. The trial took place in August 2024 at the Marion County Courthouse. The prosecution called more than 20 witnesses who described the buildup of harassment, racial taunts, and complaints by Lorincz toward the Owens children. One 13-year-old witness testified about the door knocking and wall shaking. The defense presented 4 witnesses and 3 expert testimonies, including a 3D forensic animation showing the scene and the trajectory of the bullet. After about 2.5 hours of deliberation on August 16, 2024, the jury found Susan Lorincz guilty of manslaughter with a firearm. At sentencing on November 25, 2024, Judge Robert Hodges imposed a 25-year prison term. He acknowledged Lorincz's medical history, but said that the shooting was completely unnecessary and driven by anger, not fear. In court, Lorincz apologized. "I am so sorry I took AJ's life. I never intended to kill her." But the victim's mother, Pamela Diaz, responded that the apology was insincere and that Lorincz never showed remorse. Behind the headline is a neighborhood feud. Kids playing outside, complaints, racial tension, and one act of deadly force through a locked door. What started with roller skates and an iPad ended with 4 children losing their mother and a woman behind bars for a quarter century. As the case continues to be studied, questions remain about community conflict, race, self-defense laws, and how everyday disputes can turn fatal when fear, anger, and a gun intersect.
Verdict as to count 1. We, the jury, find as to count 1 of the charge. The defendant is guilty of manslaughter. Did the state prove beyond a reasonable doubt that during the commission of the offense, the defendant personally used a firearm?